All right, everybody, time for a drive, an electric-only drive. I already put together a review of this Porsche Cayenne, and the official number of EV-only driving that you can do in this is 29 miles. But I noticed something. The car says I can go 47 miles EV driving only, which made me wonder, how true? How much EV driving can you really do? First of all, let me show you. We have 100% battery life, 0 miles on the odometer, 480 miles on the total odometer, and 47 miles of EV driving only range. So I'm going to start here, drive right into town. I figure the most likely place to be doing EV only driving is right in a city. So I'm going to spend most of my time in the city, very close to downtown, if not in downtown. And I'm going to drive to there, of course. So I'll see how many actual miles I can drive against how many miles the Porsche says I can drive versus how much the official EPA number is that says I can drive. 29 miles versus 47. Let's see how this goes. As I'm getting towards town, I should probably tell you a little bit about this car. This is the 2024 Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid. This is the base of 3 hybrid trims for the Cayenne. And yet, even though it's the base, we still get 463 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. That is split between a turbocharged 3-liter V6 that makes 300 horsepower and 309 pound-feet of torque, and an electric motor that makes 174 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque. We also get an 8-speed transmission, an automatic transmission, and critically for a plug-in hybrid, a 25.9 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Now, for the longevity of the battery's sake, only 21.8 kilowatt hours is used, but that is still a big improvement over the last generation Porsche Cayenne hybrids. All right, we're just about into downtown, and we'll start driving around, see what we get. Okay, I've driven a little bit more than 10 miles, 10 and a half miles. The first few miles were getting to the city, and then the rest of it was just driving around right in the heart of the city. Very slow going. Let me show you progress so far. As you can see, we are down to 74% battery charge, and that we've driven 10 and a half miles right here, 99 miles per gallon, you know. But check this out, average speed, 11 miles an hour. I started, this timer was at about 15 minutes when I started. We've been going very slowly. And as you'll see over here, 79 degrees outside and sunny. So the HVAC system has been going constantly as well. Obviously, that's meant there's been a lot of starting and stopping, so we have been getting a fair amount of regenerative braking, but this does not have one pedal driving. The way Porsche designed their system is you do get a lot of regenerative braking, but you still use the brake pedal physically as you would if it were just regular brakes. So it's the computer doing the work of when it's the electric motor slowing you down and when it's the actual brakes slowing you down. Me personally, I kind of like the one pedal driving feel where you can use just your accelerator pedal to get a better sense of where you are in the range and how much decel you have left and that kind of thing. But for traditional driving, this is definitely the way that people are used to, so that part of it I get. So for this next leg, we're going to stay in town but not in downtown. We're going to try to up our average speed just a little bit and then check in a few miles, see where we're at. All right, now that I'm in a little bit more open area, less traffic, I wanted to show you what I was talking about regenerative braking. We have this little line right here, and if you look at it right now, it's in blue. And if I lift off the accelerator, goes neutral, but then if I hit the brake, goes to green. And it keeps regenerative braking until I get to the end of the green bar. And then after that, that's when we get real brakes, or if you start slowing down too much. The other thing, even though I'm currently in the e-power driving mode, if I ask for too much acceleration, the engine will kick on and will run to give you all the acceleration you're asking for. And then once the car deems it appropriate, it shuts the engine back off. So I'm still in e-power mode. I haven't switched drive modes, but you'll see that if you ask for more acceleration, you'll get it, but the engine might help. But yeah, right there, even though I'm using the brakes, that green bar right there shows you how much regenerative braking I'm getting. And if I get heavy on the brakes, it doesn't go on at all because that's just the brakes. All right, we've surpassed 50% battery charge and we've gone another 13 miles or so. So I'll give you a quick status update. As you can see, we are now at 48% battery life and we've gone 23.4 miles. I've been in the car for an hour and a half. I was able to up my average speed a little bit to 16 miles an hour, driving through the not downtown part of the city. And the other thing I wanted to quickly show you here is that we also have a battery temperature monitor. That is right here. You can see it says 94 degrees, and then we have this bar right here. So this gives you a sense of how the battery pack is doing temperature-wise. Battery packs like to stay in a nice ideal temperature, not too hot, not too cold. So this is similar to your radiator. You just want it to be in a good range. So it's interesting to see that Porsche gives you that data to work with as well. All right, we're going to keep going through this chunk of town and keep accumulating miles. 75% of the battery has been used now. We've gone just under 35 miles. And let me show you, I still have 11 miles of range yet. And as you can see, I have been able to tick up our average speed to 17 miles an hour. And we've been going for over 2 hours now and still have a lot of battery life left. And the other thing I wanted to tell you is that this entire time I have had the climate control set to 70 degrees and I've had my ventilated seat on as well. So I am certainly doing this comfortably. I'm not doing anything to suffer to extend the range or anything like that. And what I'm taking away from this is that I've been in this car driving straight for over 2 hours and I still have 11 miles of range left. If I were going back and forth, going to different stores, shopping for the day, this would be enough range for the day, it seems like. So if you want to be around town in an EV, you can do that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I still have 25% battery left. Let's take this to the end, see how much range we really have. So far, 6 miles over the official range already. Just past 40 miles of driving, still have 10% battery life left at a stoplight right now. So, yeah, definitely better than 29 miles. All right, we now show no undetermined amount of miles left in the range. We have 4% battery life, but we've also driven 43 miles. We are headed back towards downtown for this last little run to see what the final mileage is. Because this is the last few percentages of the battery, we're going to transition over from e-power to the hybrid driving mode soon, and I will give you the real time exactly when it happens moment, and then as soon as I can I'll pull over and show you the final stats. 3% battery life. E-power not available. At 3% battery life, we have transitioned over to hybrid auto. As the driving mode, we went 43.5 miles, and we are about 1 mile from downtown as I say this to you. Okay, as you can see, at 3% battery life, the hybrid auto drive mode kicked on automatically, but we went 44.2 miles and have been on the road for 2.5 hours, averaging 17 miles an hour overall. So 29 miles of range, especially if you're just driving around in the city or around, not interstate driving. Yeah, you can beat that, and you can beat that pretty darn comfortably. Oh, and just to show you, if I move at all, yep, the engine is running, so there it is. I gotta tell you, I already reviewed this car and I really enjoyed it. I think that Porsche did an amazing job to retain driving joy in something this big and this heavy and this fuel efficient. A plug-in hybrid that will give you over 40 miles of EV-only driving range that's still fun to drive and as quick as this thing is, yeah, it's an amazing combination. Obviously, this Porsche is not cheap, well over 100 grand as tested, $99,000 base price for a Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid. So this is for a privileged few to be sure, but if you're lucky enough to be able to afford a car like this, this is a fantastic way to go. My only demerit for this car, after driving it around quite a bit, is that the brakes, you can feel, it just does feel a little overboosted at times, and the transition between regenerative braking and your actual brakes, friction brakes doing the work, it is noticeable. An excellent example of better brakes is the Porsche Cayenne S. That is something I also got to review a while ago, and those brakes feel fantastic. Obviously, the fuel economy isn't nearly as good. That is a V8 powered Porsche Cayenne, very different machine than this. But aside from that, it's extremely comfortable, it's quiet, it's enjoyable, it's got lots of luxuries, of course. All the screens are easy to read and use. You get good information from those screens. And when you're in the mood, you can drive an EV for quite a while. In the end, Porsche shows us that plug-in hybrids can still be fun to drive, even if they're this big. And I absolutely love it for it. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you very much for watching.